Yeah. Madeline is our telescope operator. She is the boss tonight. The astronomers, they don't get to work the controls. Madeline is going to do all of that. So come on over here, and why don't you first press north, the north button. Just hold it down. So you can see north and south, it's pivoting on this bearing that goes right through the center. So it would move that way. Okay, that's good. Now why don't you press west? And so for the east and west motion, it will rotate on this giant horseshoe bearing. The horseshoe, by the way, was a new innovation for this telescope. Edwin Hubble used to complain incessantly about the 100-inch on Mount Wilson because it had a solid bar going across there, and he was never able to get the telescope all the way down to the north end of the sky. Very good. Okay, so now let's see. Tonight's astronomer is going to be looking at some brown dwarfs. Brown dwarfs, by the way, were discovered here on Palomar Mountain. They are technically called like failed stars. They fill that gap between the giant planets and the red dwarfs. They did not have enough mass to really ignite the thermonuclear fusion in their cores, but they make up possibly a large amount of the mass in our galaxy. Okay, so Madeline, let's say that the astronomer wants to look at a star that is a brown dwarf that is in the southeast. So you can push both of those buttons at the same time. Now when Madeline moves the telescope into position for a new object, this is called slewing, and the real telescope moves almost this fast. And so as Madeline moves this, imagine you're that astronomer who's inside that tube in the very top, prime focus cage. That could be a wild ride. Actually, the bottom of that tube was like a bowl, and they were in a chair that had wheels on it, so they'd be wheeling around on this bowl. Kind of a crazy ride. Okay, now Madeline's got it pointed on one of those brown dwarfs that the astronomer wants to study. So now we would go into tracking mode. That is where we are compensating for Earth's rotation. So Madeline, just press west right there. Now in tracking mode, of course, it is going to be going far slower than this. I think the technical term is watching paint dry, but it moves at about 15 degrees an hour. If you extend your index finger and your pinky, that is 15 degrees if you hold it at arm's length. That's how much the sky appears to move in an hour. So it would be moving very, very slowly. Very good. Now Madeline, of course, would actually be working in the data room over there, where she has access actually to some weather instruments, okay? And those instruments are telling you that the humidity is rising. Maybe there's a fog rolling in. But the astronomer tells you that he wants to look at another brown dwarf that's in the northeast. What do you think you want to tell him? Very good, good answer. No, we're not going to take any chances with this telescope, so at least for now, we're going to have to put the telescope back into parked position and put things on hold. So can you go ahead and get it upright? I think you're going to need to push those two till we get it upright. Doesn't mean, though, that everybody's going to go home now. You know, weather on the mountain is pretty volatile, so maybe we are going to have to close it up for now, but who knows? 3 hours from now, it might be clear enough to still do some observing. The staff is going to want to stick around all night if necessary to try to help that astronomer get, let's go south just a little bit. Try to help them get at least a few hours. Thursday night, we weren't able to start observing until 11 o'clock, but the astronomer was still able to get, you know, at least about, 6 hours of observing there. So nice job. Have we got it straight up? Oh, it's pretty good. So excellent job, Madeline. So for having been such an outstanding night assistant, we have a telescope operator's badge for you.
Yay!
Good job. Unfortunately, those are not available in the gift shop or online. So Madeline, we don't want to see it on eBay. Okay? When you are designing the largest telescope